Do you have a channel and you feel like you're putting out great content and you're putting in a lot of work into it, but it's just not getting the recognition that you feel it deserves? Or do you know somebody, like one of your fave YouTubers, who's doing great work but just hasn't blown up to the extent that you think they should have? Well, if you're wondering why, first of all, your channel is not growing and what it is that you can do to ensure that you can grow your channel in 2019, you should be watching this video, because I'm going to be sharing with you around 5 or maybe even 6 if you're lucky tips that will help you grow your channel in 2019, which is based on a lot of the experiences that I've had being on YouTube for so many years, and like learning from my mistakes and learning from, and doing a lot of research online through YouTube on ways that I can be able to replicate some of the past successes that I've had here on YouTube. So if you're interested in this video and you want my little help or my advice or my advice in making sure that you can grow your channel in 2019, then make sure you watch this video. So first of all, my name is Zara and welcome to my channel. Forgot to introduce myself. If you end up liking this video, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you comment and all that stuff. But let's get right into it right now so you have a good idea of what my tips are, okay? So the very first tip, and I think this is a super important one, is to understand your niche. So you have to know who your audience is. Why is that important? It's really very basic. You need to know who you're targeting, because when you're creating your channel and you're creating a specific kind of content, you know that it speaks to a specific type of audience. And if you're creating content that's like, maybe all over the place, maybe you like to do cooking, but then you like to do technology, and then you like to do gaming, but then you like to do beauty videos, you might lose people, because maybe some people are just interested in your tech videos, some people are just interested in your cooking. Sometimes you can't hit all of them, you can't actually reach all of them, and you have to start by thinking about how you're going to start by focusing on a specific audience that you want to target, that you want to build towards, and that you are creating content specifically for. So you have to go into your analytics and see that, if you have your ideal audience, who they are they female, are they 25 to 34? You have to go inside your analytics and see if these are the people that are watching your video. Because if this is not your target audience is not the audience that's watching your video, then maybe it means that your content is not appropriate to the audience that you want, or is not speaking to the audience that you want, and therefore you might have to refine your content or revise your content, or maybe change your target audience. So for me, in my case, my channel was really aimed at women, particularly women of color. I started a long time ago. I started on YouTube in 2011, and I started this channel in 2013, so it's been about 6 years now. It's a long time, and I feel like my audience has grown with me. So when I first started my channel, the age range of the audience who was watching me was mostly 18 to 24, and now it's mostly 25 to 34, and the second age group is 18 to 24, and it's all women mostly. And then the majority of my audience is based in the US, and then I think the UK, and then I want to say France, and then some African countries like maybe Nigeria, Kenya, and then there's India and things like that. So I don't know in the right order. I'll insert the clip so you see, but basically that goes to show that my target audience, which is women, which are women who are like young adults, is exactly who I'm speaking to. These are exactly the people who are watching my channel, and these are the people that I want to continue to engage. So when I'm building my content, I'm building my content from what I want to share with people, but keeping in mind who I'm talking to. And the second one, this is the huge advice that they tell you every day now, because we're bombarded with videos, and if you scroll through your Facebook feed, it's video, you go on Instagram, there's video, you go on Twitter, everybody's doing videos are everywhere. So what's going to make somebody watch yours instead of another one? It's really important that if a person clicks on your video and starts listening to it, that you are grabbing their attention in the first 15 seconds. Like studies have shown that if you grab people's attention for the first 15 seconds, then you're likely to grab them for the rest of the video. But if you don't manage to hit the 15-second mark, then you have lost them. And I guess that if you're still watching this video right now, then it means that I've hit my 15-second mark, and this is what, and it's actually proof that it works. You're still around. So what I would say is, when you want to grab people in the first 15 seconds, you have to do kind of what I tried to do with this video. I don't usually do this, and this is also why I know I lose people. You have to make sure that you're already kind of telling people straight up in the first 15 seconds, this is what I'm talking to you about today, and this is how I'm going to show you what I'm talking to you about, and remind them again while you're here, what you're doing, and then you cue the video. So you just you give them a preview kind of what you're about to do, right? So I told you guys about, I kind of try to hook about, is this something that you want to answer? Is it something that you're trying to do? This is what I'm going to share with you today, and let's go, right? And that's kind of what you need to do if you want to make sure that people are engaging. They want to know what it is that they're going to get out of your video before they even start watching it, so that they know. And what you say at the beginning really has to be what's inside the video, because otherwise you'll lose people. One of the most important metrics now on YouTube is your watch time. YouTube really pushes videos that have a bigger watch time. And what does that really mean? It means the amount of time, minutes, that people are spending watching your videos. So if you have a really good audience retention, you're likely to have more watch time on your videos, and the more watch time you have, then you're probably promoting also a better session time. And what is session time? It's the amount of time that people are spending on YouTube altogether. So if you have really good watch time on one of your videos, so if people like to watch 10 minutes of your video, you're increasing people's session time on YouTube, and YouTube likes that, because what it wants to do is make sure that more and more people are on YouTube, on this platform, watching their videos. They want to keep you there as long as possible. You may not realize how much time you spend on there, but we do spend a lot of time on YouTube. I mean, I looked at my phone and I was horrified when I saw the number of hours that I spent on YouTube per week. The more you get people to be engaged in the video, the more it increases your watch time, and the more YouTube is going to try and promote your video and put it in people's searches and in suggested videos, because it'll identify your video as being one that keeps people on its platform. Okay, so the third tip is we need to look into video SEO for YouTube. So we talk a lot about search engine optimization when it's for Google or Bing or all these other those different search engines, but it also applies to video. But if you think specifically on YouTube, in my case, I realized that the majority of my video views come from YouTube searches. People actually searching topics that are bringing up my video. And then the second traffic source is the second source of my content is it's the suggested videos. So it goes to show that for me, people stumble upon my video because they search for something, one of the topics that I'm talking about, or they were watching another one and mine came as a suggested video that was in line with what they were already looking at. And the truth of the matter is that all of your videos, all the hard work you put into your videos serves no purpose if people can't find them, right? So unless you get all your views from your subscribers, and you already have tons and tons of subscribers, you actually have to reach out to new audiences. And for you to do that, you have to think about really how you're titling your videos. You have to work on your keywords, and keyword is a keyword. It's important. So when you're thinking about your SEO for YouTube, you have to make sure that your title includes your keyword, and your keyword doesn't have to be one word, it can be a phrase. Like for instance, here my keyword would be YouTube channel is not growing, or grow your channel in 2019. Those would be actual keywords, those little phrases, and I have to make sure that those appear in my title, because that needs to reflect if it's a keyword, and your keyword is usually where you put in your tags. So that keyword needs to be reflected in my title, but it also needs to appear in my description, and I have to say it in my video, because YouTube is listening. And now, when we first started YouTube, I used to just put a lot of tags, like all kinds of tags in the tag bar when I would upload my video, to ensure that it would appear everywhere on other people's channels, on my channel, and different topics, things that had nothing to do with what I was doing. And back then you could do that, but Google, YouTube, everybody's getting smarter, and they're making sure that you can't do that anymore. You can't cheat your way to the top. So you have to be very specific. They want to make sure that when their audiences, that the people that go on YouTube search for something and your video comes up, that it's really giving the people what they want. Because otherwise what's happening, they're not getting any watch time, they're not getting any session time, and that's not what YouTube wants. So you have to make sure that your keyword, it needs to appear in your tag, in your description, in your title. Second thing is, again, your video description. You make your video description a bit more original than the typical ones that we tend to find. This is where I have slides. I would always have my description boxes with like, hey loves, and something like that. I think what's really important is to remember that if people are searching and this is how your video appears, they only have like one line of description to see. That's all they got, or maybe two. So you have to make sure that that one liner or that two liner is engaging enough that people are like, got it, I'm clicking. Okay, so those are two things you really need to be focusing on when you're uploading your video, because a lot of times your videos are going to appear either on the search bar or as a suggested video. Very likely mostly on the suggested video, more so than an actual search, because in search you're competing with millions and millions and millions of other videos. As a matter of fact, I did the research today just to check how one of my videos was performing in the search bar. I like my Bugs Big videos have over 1,200,000 views. However, if you search the titles and like you search keywords that I've put for those videos, I'm not going to appear in like the first page, which is crazy. So it goes to show that, like, you know, you have to make sure that you're really putting in the work to ensure that you're maximizing your chances of appearing against all these other competing videos. And again, a lot of the other things that are going to make sure that your video comes up and appears right there is if people are liking your video, people are engaging with your video. It sends YouTube the signals that it needs to be like, hey, let me push this video up. Okay. The fourth one, and I think this one is like, people have been saying it for the beginning of time, and I think people are tired of hearing it, but it's so true. You need to work on your thumbnails. This is one that I neglect my thumbnails so much, and I've neglected my thumbnails for quite some time, and I'm so embarrassed. But I think it's time. I think it's important to not neglect them. Why? I know for me it was because it was very time consuming to create thumbnails, especially when I make fashion videos or other kinds of videos. It requires a lot of work. I'd create them in Photoshop and blah blah blah. It would just be super time consuming. Well, it's worth putting in that effort. I know that some of my best performing videos are videos that have thumbnails that are just straight to the point. So my Bugs Big videos, if I'm showing you 8 hairstyles, you're seeing the 8 hairstyles in my thumbnail. And I know that it always works to get people's attention. But even for my postpartum body video where I talk about my body after pregnancy, I knew that it was going to grab people's attention if I shared an image of what my stomach looked like, because I knew it would be horrifying, and people who were like, okay, my stomach's horrifying too, let me click on here, or even people who are just curious and they're like, oh my god, or people who are just like, who feel sorry for you would still click. they would still click to figure it out and to look at it and whatever, and then maybe be interested in the topic. So it's important to make sure that your thumbnails are grabbing attention. And sometimes what helps is to see how other people are doing their thumbnails. Right now it shows that better performing thumbnails are the ones that include a person's face. So I guess that's a good thing to have. I think it's good to be able to do a thumbnail with your face and then whatever it is that you want to talk about, and in big bold letters with the title and stuff like that. Those are they grab your attention. They grab people's attention generally. Just think about what you gravitate to naturally and why, and try to recreate that, but then try to be a bit more, to stand out by creating different color schemes, and to be a bit more, to be bolder, different fonts, like things that people are not so used to seeing, so they will be more inclined to clicking on your video. I use an app on my phone. I think it's YouTube thumbnail maker or something. I'll link it down below, and it costs it doesn't cost much, but it's good to use, because it just makes your life so much more simple when it comes to creating your thumbnails. And that's what I do now, so that I don't have to make excuses for why I'm not creating my thumbnails. So the fifth tip that I would really give is to be able to create and foster engagement on your videos. So for me, the main thing is, you want to encourage people to subscribe. For the longest time, and every time I look at my best performing videos, you never see me asking people to subscribe from the beginning to the end. And then I'm like, oh my god, but I get all these views, but I don't have all these subscribers. Well, maybe people don't know they should be subscribing. People don't know that by subscribing to you and activating the notification bell, they're going to be hearing more about you, getting more videos if they like this one and stuff. Like, they don't know that stuff. You have to tell them, and some do know, but if you're not prompting them to do it, if there's no call to action, they're not likely to do it. So you have to tell people to subscribe, and maybe sometimes briefly explain why they need to subscribe or why they need to activate the notification bell. But beyond that, also tell people to like your video and encourage people to comment. So the best way to encourage people to comment is not to say, please comment down below, blah, 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 blah. It's more like you ask them a direct question and you feed them to choices. So yeah, multiple choice questions usually work, because they allow people to keep it simple. Oh, do you prefer A or B? And they'll say, I prefer A. It works easier than saying, what would you do in my situation, kind of thing. you know what I mean? It's easier to get people to be engaged if you're helping them, you're guiding them in the response, so they can be more. It's just more natural for them to answer. So I think it's really important to think about that. And engagement again is what's going to signal to YouTube that your video is working, that people are engaging with it, people are interacting with it, and it will obviously make YouTube want to promote your video more. So I think it's really important to do that. And I guess the final thing that I would want to say is that, you know, you have to, and this I think is the most important tip of all, is once you've worked on all these different aspects, you have to make sure you're consistent. You have to be consistently doing every single one of these things, but beyond that, you have to be consistent in producing content. And this is the part where I slack. I think my previous video was like 3 months ago. Like, how embarrassing. Although I had said 3 months ago, I'm going to be here every week. Like, no, but you have to be consistent. You have to, YouTube has to know that you're here to stay. YouTube has to know that your audience is here to stay as well. And for them to know that you're here to stay, they have to see content of yours coming more regularly. And even the people who follow you, they want to know that you're engaging regularly. Otherwise, they unsubscribe, they go follow other people, and things like that, you know? So it's really important to make sure you're consistent. And if it's so consistent in all the different tips that I've mentioned, but consistent in the production of your videos and the regularity at which you post them, okay? And if it's tough to be regular and consistent in terms of the regularity of your posting, then make sure that you are engaging on other social media and other platforms, or using all the different tools that exist, like, you know, stories and things like that, to engage with your communities and your audiences while you're not on YouTube, and keeping them, you know, keeping them in the know, sharing behind the scenes stuff, sharing bloopers while you're away, things like that, just to make sure that they know that you're here, that you're still producing, for YouTube to know that you're still engaging your community and things like that while you're not necessarily posting. So now that we're done, I'd love to ask you guys to choose between 2 of these tips to let me know which one you're going to be using in your journey to grow your channel in 2019. So are you going to, it's not likely, you are you going to be working harder on your thumbnails and making sure that, you know, you're creating thumbnails that are speaking to people, engaging them, or are you going to be focusing your energy on mastering your 15-second hook at the very beginning of your videos to ensure that people are watching past the 15-second mark and are, you know, likely to stick with you till the end? Do let me know down in the comments. As you can see, this is my trick to getting you guys to comment. But yeah, do let me know which one of the 2 you think is interesting, and if none of these are speaking to you, well, let me know as well, okay? So I'm really interested in growing my channel in 2019 with you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, don't forget to like if this video was helpful, and please do subscribe so you don't miss another one of my videos, so we can all keep in touch. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.